G'day, it's Michelle here from For the Love of Horses. Today I thought I'd show you my wound cream that I make. I'm making a great big batch because the horse I'm making it for has a giant sized wound on his leg with swelling all the way up to the hock. So basically all I'm doing is I'm putting virgin coconut oil. I'm using this one so that it is more of a wound cream rather than an oil, although it will be, if it's very hot, it will become very oily. It will melt is what I'm trying to say. What if you make this is the best wound cream ever. I knew someone who used it on a horse that had an eye wound that needed stitches, but they found it too late to stitch, and it healed very quickly and well without any scarring. So I use it on my horses for wounds rather than counter stuff because I would just prefer it. Basically, it's cheaper for me to make my own, but I actually believe it's better too. So anyway, so what I'm doing is I'm mixing the coconut oil. I've got it in hot water to melt it. I don't want to melt it too much. Or get it really hot, so that's why I'm not melting it over the stove or in the microwave, because essential oils don't react well to heat. They'll lose some of their properties. I've got Manuka honey. It's only 30 plus, but it's just what I could get, and I'm in a urgent to get it. So that's that, and you could use raw honey, but obviously Manuka honey is probably a bit better. That's what I'm doing, and then I'm going to add some essential oils. I'm going to add an oil called Thieves oil, which is a Young Living oil. If you're a doTERRA user, On Guard is the equivalent. So I'm using that as an antiseptic. I'm using, you could replace that with tea tree. Tea tree is readily available. And then I'm using lavender because that's really good for skin healing. And then I'm using Copaiba because it's the most amazing anti-inflammatory you can get. It's better than prescription anti-inflammatories. So I'm using that as an anti-inflammatory, and it also helps with pain. So it'll be a bit of pain relief for the horse as well. And then lastly, I'm using frankincense. Frankincense is just really good at helping other oils. It's got lots of benefits, but so one, it's going to be good for the skin and good for the anti-inflammatory and all of that stuff as well, but it also helps make other oils more potent, I guess, or work better. So that's that. Lastly, I have some comfrey infused oil, and I think it's sunflower oil. So it's just some sunflower oil with comfrey already infused. So comfrey, once again, is a really good anti-inflammatory. So I figured I'll throw some of that in there. Trying to get the coconut oil out is problematic. So what I'll do is I'll get my daughter to stop filming now while I get the rest of this coconut oil out, because you don't need to see me about doing this. But before I do that, I'm just going to explain the difference about oils. So I've got here three brands of oil: the doTERRA, the Young Living, and whatever this comfrey is. Basically, the difference between the two is not much. If you use either of them, keep using it. I've said before in another video on the differences of the two companies is probably what's more important is the team you're with. Are the team going to love and support you if you buy one oil a year, or do they have the ability to help you build a business if you want to do that too? It's really your team. So you want to choose the right team for you. You should be with a team that is happy for you to do either, really, because The lady who got me into oils, she just used them for 3 years and then suddenly decided she wanted to build a business, and she's built a very successful business to the point she's been able to retire her husband in about a year. So that's pretty cool. Those opportunities there if you want them, but not everyone does, and that's absolutely fine too. So you want a team that knows how to do that if you want to do it, but they're not going to pressure you into doing it, because using oils is just the most wonderful thing, and that's really all that we want to be about. So, all right, so now the difference between the two, they're more similar than they are different. They both, get their oils from country of origin for the most part. They both support local communities. They both do great things. So they both have their oils independently tested. So we know, that's the one thing I like about MLM or network marketing or whatever, is that it's highly scrutinized. People don't like it, which is kind of silly. If I'm going to support a business, I'd love to support, my friend's business where I know the money's going to her than some huge multinational company that, I believe in buying small, buying local. So I think it's odd, but I also understand that some people, when they get into this business, do become a bit strange and pressure their family and friends, which is not nice and gives the industry a bad name. But the one thing that's great about it is that the products are very highly scrutinized. So there's independent testing that's made available. So we know that Copaiba, for example, has 200, and I've used this before, but it has 280 possible compounds. So from independent testing on a study I saw, there was Young Living had 270 something compounds of those possible 280, and doTERRA had 260 something. So on another test, it might test slightly differently. I would imagine every batch is different, but that's how it was on that day. So really not much difference. A low quality oil that was tested, and I don't remember the brand, was I think 55 or 65 or something. So from a low quality oil to either of Young Living or doTERRA, difference between Young Living and doTERRA, not much. Where I notice the difference is in the viscosity of the oil. So the viscosity is the thickness. When I use a Young Living oil, it's a pain to get out because it's so thick. You've got to sit there and drip, drop, drop, drop. I need to get a squeezy thing. Whereas the doTERRA oils will just drip out because they're just much thinner. So I like to explain it like this. If you have a tea bag and you pour water over the tea bag, as you first start pouring the water over the tea bag or the tea leaves or whatever, it's going to be dark. Lots of tea comes out. The more water you pour, the thinner it gets. The less dark, the less concentrated. So when you extract an oil through distillation process, the first part of the oil distillation is the strongest. That's where it's strongest. And as you go through, it becomes more watery, less strong. So my understanding, and I've just read this, I haven't verified it, but my understanding is that Young Living uses the first, I read it was a quarter, I don't know for certain, but they use, the first part of that distillation process, and the rest of the oil they use on their crops and whatever. And their products, perhaps, I'm not really sure. Now, my understanding is that doTERRA do a complete distill, which is fine. It's still getting all of the same compounds. Like if they're getting 260 possible compounds out of the Copaiba, they're still getting all the same compounds. So it's going to be just as effective. The only difference it means is that I find I would dilute Young Living a bit more. So, you know, if I'm going to use 3 drops of Young Living and I might use 5 of doTERRA, that's basically the only difference. If you're using it for smell, no difference. Just shove. In fact, the doTERRA tend to smell a bit nicer because they don't smell as medicinal. They smell sweeter. So for just using as aromatherapy, you know, you can just you use the drops to suit your own smell. So really, I wouldn't get hung up about which oils you use. However, I do use slightly more of the doTERRA oil compared to the Young Living in a recipe. That's basically about it. But in my market, they're a lot cheaper, so it works out about the same anyway. All right, so to show you that, I have here some Copaiba. Actually, I'll do that later. I'm going to put the honey in first and give it a good mix. Oh, sorry, I should have taken the honey thing off first. The wrapper. So, come on, honey. There's a lot of coconut oil there, so I'm going to put a lot of honey. I don't have a wooden spoon. Thinking a wooden spoon will be higher, so I won't get as rotty. There we go. All my melted stuff is right down the bottom. Probably needed a wider, flatter bowl to help it melt. All right, so I'm just mixing the honey in together. I'd really like it to be quite melted so that I can mix the oils evenly through. So I might even, when I did this the other day, I had a much smaller amount that I was making and my little water thing worked really well, but I might even have to give it a bit of a zap, warm it up. This Manuka honey is mixed in much better than my other honey, my raw honey. It's sort of more thin. It's actually mixed a lot better. There's all this solid stuff in here. All right. Come on, melt, coconut, melt. Sorry, this is a bit boring. That'll probably do. I would have liked it to have gone quite liquid, but I think this will still mix fine. All right, so I'm going to add some comfrey. I'm just going to pour it. It's already mixed with sunflower oil, so, oops. I'll add that in, give it a good mix up. All right, now the essential oils. So let's start with the Copaiba. If I pour this in a drop, this is the Copaiba. Oh, it's so frustrating. Nothing comes out. Not a single drop has come out. That's also Copaiba. And if I pour it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you can see that's both Copaiba. This one's just so much thicker than this one to the point that it doesn't come out. So what I'm actually going to do is take off my thing. So you can see that actually there's a lot in there. I'm just going to pour some in. Because I'd rather use this one. It's just, you know, in my opinion, it's stronger. I've got doTERRA frankincense oil because I got it super cheap. They have really good specials. So that's about 30 drops. Lavender. Once again, I'm using doTERRA today. Oh, it smells so beautiful. So that was just over 30 drops. Now, once again, my Thieves isn't going to come out. So this is the Young Living Thieves. So I'm going to open it up and just pour some in because there's a lot of that's so good. I better not use the last of it because I'll need some. All right, so now it's just mix it all up and that's it, I'm done. So I'm just going to mix it up really well and make sure it's all evenly dispersed through there so that when they go to get some cream, they're going to get some of the oils as well as the other stuff. So what I'll do is I'm going to also post pictures of the wound and pictures of it getting better so that you can actually see the results for yourself. Unfortunately, they're not able to keep this wound wrapped. It should be wrapped, but he's a bit of a bugger, and even though it's a rear leg, he manages to get the bandages off no matter what they do. So unfortunately, it's open to the air, but hopefully this cream will help it repair anyway. The lass that used it on the eye, obviously that couldn't be bandaged, so you know that's why I'm using the thick oil to help it sort of stay on there longer. All right, so thanks for watching. We'll post updates with the wound and so you can see how we're going. I might actually just add a bit more of the oils in. I've kind of just guessed because, you know, I'm a bit like that. I'm a bit of a fly by the seat of my pants kind of girl. But I just feel like there's a lot of coconut oil in there. And so I want to make sure that there's enough of the oils, because obviously that's the active ingredients to help it get better. So I'm just going to use this Copaiba because it's easier to get out. Alright, so thank you so much for watching. I will post updates. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. If you want any help in deciding, you know, what company is the right company for you, I believe that that's very individual based. Some companies are better for some people and others better for others. Depends on what you want to do with the products, whether you like to make your own products or whether you like to buy made products. There's a lot of factors. So if you need some help deciding that, give me a hoy. If you want help with recipes, I've got a equine education group that a whole bunch of equine users that use essential oils courses. So if you want any information on that group, please feel free to reach out to me. All right, thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Bye.